what's his face from Fox News, man? Tucker Carlson. Like he was going to go to Tucker Carlson and prove to him or change his mind about voter fraud. And actually Tucker Carlson is the most perfect example you can get out of that, because you can even sit there and see that's actually, you can't get a better example than Tucker Carlson, right? You have somebody that was sitting there and straight up lying to everybody's face about voter fraud, right? He didn't believe it, but he was still doing it anyway. And the reason why we know that is because of the text messages that came out because of the discovery from the lawsuit. You see what I'm saying? But had that lawsuit never happened, you would have never known that, and people would have sat there. If you asked him, he would have lied to you. I mean, he's lying right now, right? So like asking him would just give you the same result, where he would give you whatever reason for why he truly believes like the voter machine things were like rigged or whatever, even though he actually secretly doesn't believe that at all. And that's where these people are. These people that have the biggest audiences and whatnot, they're almost certainly lying to you in one respect to the other. Most of them, right? Not all of them, but most of them, especially when like the evidence is pretty glaring or pretty obvious, and that they still won't change their position. They won't even modify it a little bit. Why sit there and focus on these people? Why? You really shouldn't. And he has but why do people still believe him? Because it's just like what we were just talking about before, right? Most of these people, most American, I hate using these words as if like I'm sitting there and I'm educated on like what a lot of people do and all that stuff like that. Just know I'm being a bit, facetious? Is the facetious the right word? On like on these statements. But like I would sit there and I would say that kind of like what we was discussing earlier, right? Most Americans, just do not have the time to sit there and really fact check anybody. Just look at your life, right? Assuming that you get 8 hours of sleep, right? There's 24 hours in a day, right? You get 8 hours of sleep. That leaves you 16 hours left for the rest of the day, right? Then, most people are working. That's typically another 8 hours. So then there you go, right? Then you only have 8 hours left to yourself. Are you really going to sit there with the 8 hours you have left? Or are you going to sit there, assuming that you wasn't working late or nothing like that, right? Are you really going to use your 8 hours to sit there and research and dive deep into like these really pressing important issues, or are you just trying to live, enjoy your life, be prosperous, take care of your family if you have family, right? Especially like, if you got old parents, you got children or whatnot, right? That stuff, trying to do, handling your own life and prosper in your own life while simultaneously diving in the manner and level necessary to really get hard, true facts out of these highly politicized issues, right? Most people just don't do that. That's just not something most people do. And so like most people would actually rather try to find a source that they would think is trustworthy, right? Their criteria for trustworthiness, I don't know, that's, an individual level, but that they would, sit there and they would just turn to people in hopes that they are getting the most correct information possible. I think it's like just what most people kind of go to, right? Because it's not something that people actively thinking. They're busy with their own lives. And so then, when the issue crops up, like, whether it's healthcare, transgenderism, the whole abortion, birth control, stuff like that. Like, a perfect example is, when people are being told that abortion, right? Oh, these people are ripping out babies out of mom's stomachs at 8-9 months, which is just like, and they're just choosing to just rip them out. Like you take a step back and you're like, that sounds a little bit like too hard to believe, right? That they would just be able to just decide to just randomly just pull out a baby at 8-9 months, abort a baby at 8-9 months for no reason. That's what the argument is being presented, right? So if you don't do the research, this is just the stuff that you keep being told, especially from religious people that want to lie to you. Let's be clear, religious people are doing nothing but straight up lying to you because they just want their religious agendas like pushed anyway, right? But like you got all these different people telling you this thing and you're like, okay, so it's got to be true, right? That's what that is. So it's just, it really is just, it is what it is. That's just, the state that we just all live in right now. So, so, and hence this is why, what's his face, right? Why after he left Fox News, right? He still has such a massive following because, he's, a lot of people just believe in the things that he says and thinks that he's telling the truth, and he hasn't been called out on it, right? Or at least they haven't been shown anything. Like, how many times has Fox News been taken to court where they've had to sit there and say, we're not a real news agency, or these people are not a real news agencies, so like they can sit there and they can lie or whatever because they're just giving opinions or something.